Sometimes I think about how different things would be if I'd just kept my mouth shut about needing space. But here's the thing. I wasn't lying when I said I felt suffocated. Clay was always there, always asking what I was doing, where I was going, when I'd be back. Well, like, give me room to breathe, you know? And before you start judging, just hit that like and subscribe button. Real quick if you're enjoying this mess of a story. Trust me, you'll want to see how this plays out. I'm Molly. I'm 27, and I thought I had everything figured out. Clay and I had been living together for almost 2 years in this gorgeous 2-bedroom apartment downtown. Well, it was his lease, his credit check, his furniture, but we were splitting everything 50-50 like a real couple should. At least that's how it started. The truth is, my photography business was finally taking off. I'd been working with this amazing mentor, Nate, who really understood my artistic vision. He was older, more experienced, and actually took my work seriously instead of just nodding along like Clay did. When Nate suggested I needed my own space to really develop as an artist, it made perfect sense. You can't create meaningful art when someone's constantly hovering over you, asking if you need anything or commenting on every little thing you do. So yeah, maybe I'd been letting Clay cover more of the bills lately. But that's what partners do, right? Support each other's dreams. My Venmo payments to him had gotten smaller over the months, but only because I was investing in equipment and workshops. Real photographers need professional gear, not the basic stuff Clay thought was good enough. He made decent money in his tech job, sitting at home all day, in his pajamas, so it's not like he was struggling. The apartment had become perfect for my photography setup, too. The lighting in the living room was incredible, and I'd already rearranged everything to accommodate my equipment. Clay's gaming setup looked so cluttered next to my carefully curated creative space. I mean, multiple monitors and tangled cables everywhere. It was like living in an electronics store. When I finally worked up the courage to have the conversation, I planned it out perfectly. I sat him down on a Thursday evening, made sure I was calm and articulate. I explained how I felt like I was losing myself, how I needed independence to grow as an artist and a person. I wasn't doing anything wrong by wanting my own space. Successful people need room to flourish. I feel like I'm disappearing living with you, I told him. I need my own space to breathe and create. You're not doing anything wrong, but I'm suffocating here. I need to live alone for a while. I made it clear this wasn't about breaking up. I'd found this perfect studio downtown that would be available next month. We could still date, still see each other, just with healthy boundaries. I thought he'd understand. He was always talking about supporting my dreams and wanting me to be happy. "So what are you thinking?" he asked, and I could tell he was processing. "Well, it makes more sense for you to find something new. This place is perfect for my photography equipment, and you work from home anyway. You could set up anywhere." The apartment I'd been living in for 2 years that I'd helped make into a home was obviously the better fit for my needs. Clay's work setup was just computers. He could do that anywhere. My photography required specific lighting space for backdrops room for clients. It was logical. That's when he said something that should have been sweet but felt weird. "Okay, I want you to be happy." Just like that. No fight, no discussion, no trying to work things out. He just agreed. Part of me was relieved, but another part was almost insulted. Wasn't our relationship worth fighting for? Wasn't I worth fighting for? But I pushed that feeling down and focused on the positive. He hugged me, and I started talking about how this would make us stronger, how much better we'd appreciate each other with some space. I was actually excited. Finally, I'd have the independence I'd been craving. That Saturday, I went to my photography workshop with Nate. We'd been getting closer over the past few months, and I'd been looking forward to celebrating my brave decision with someone who actually understood artistic growth. We grabbed brunch afterward, and I told him about the conversation with Clay. "You did the right thing," Nate said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. "Artists need space to create. You can't develop your vision when someone's constantly in your peripheral vision." The way he looked at me when he said it made my stomach flutter. Nate got it in a way Clay never did. When I talked about my art, Clay would just nod and say, "That's great, babe," like he was humoring me. Nate actually engaged, asked questions, pushed me to think deeper about my work. When I got home that afternoon, I stopped dead in the doorway. Half the apartment was empty. Clay's desk gone. His monitors, gaming console, the coffee table he'd restored when we first moved in. All gone. The kitchen looked bare without his fancy appliances. The mixer he'd bought me for my birthday, the espresso machine he'd surprised me with last Christmas, even the air fryer we used constantly. "What are you doing?" I stood there, mouth hanging open, watching him carry out a box of books. You need space to find yourself. I'm giving you all the space you need." The way he said it was so calm, so matter of fact. No emotion, no anger, nothing. "But where are you going?" Found a place. Month-to-month lease across town. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I'd imagined we'd spend the next few weeks planning the transition, maybe having some romantic goodbye dinners, making sure everything was handled properly. I thought you'd stay here until I moved out next month." "Why would I do that? You said living with me was suffocating. I'm fixing that immediately." He was making me sound unreasonable, like I'd been cruel or something. I'd been trying to communicate my needs maturely, and he was twisting it into something ugly. "This is crazy. You can't just leave like this. Watch me." I followed him out to the moving truck he'd rented. "What about the rent? It's due in 2 weeks. "That's between you and the landlord. Your name isn't on the lease, remember?" The way he said it made my chest tight. "But I can't afford $2,400 by myself." Should have thought about that before deciding you needed independence. That night, the apartment felt huge and empty and wrong. I kept waiting for Clay to text a call to say he'd overreacted. Instead, I found myself texting him. "This is so immature. You're punishing me for being honest about my needs. Real partners support each other's growth." No response. Sunday morning, I was still in shock when I heard keys in the door. Clay was back, but not to stay. He was collecting his mail and returning his keys to the landlord. I'd been crying on and off all night, and I probably looked terrible. "Please don't do this. Let's talk." We talked. "You made your needs clear. I'm respecting them." "I didn't mean right now." When someone tells you they're suffocating, you give them air immediately, not on their timeline. He was being so cold, so literal about everything. This wasn't the Clay I knew. He was usually warm, accommodating, eager to make me happy. This version felt like a stranger. "Where am I supposed to go?" "You found a studio downtown, remember, perfect for your photography." "That's not available until next month, and it's $1,800. He just shrugged. "Sounds like your problem." The utilities were scheduled to shut off in 5 days when the billing cycle ended. Everything, internet, electricity, water, all in his name, all being transferred to his new place. I'd never even thought about that part. Monday morning, my phone rang. Evelyn, Clay's mom. "Sweetie, Clay told me what happened. Can't you two work this out like adults?" We did, Evelyn. I communicated my needs and he respected them. "But you have nowhere to go." "I have the studio I picked out. Plus, I wanted independence. That includes being independent from Clay's housing and financial support." "You're being cruel to her." "I'm being exactly what she asked for, absent from her space." The conversation ended badly with Evelyn clearly taking my side, but Clay refusing to budge. Wednesday, I got a text from Brooklyn. "You're such an asshole. She's sleeping on my couch because of you." I didn't even respond. What was I supposed to say, that I'd given Molly exactly what she'd asked for? Thursday, another text from Molly. "The landlord says I have 3 days to leave or he'll start eviction proceedings. Please come back." "I can't. I'd be suffocating you, remember?" Friday, she showed up at my office building. Security called me down to the lobby where she was standing with smudged makeup and desperate eyes. "We need to talk." "You wanted space." Showing up at my workplace is the opposite of space. "I made a mistake." "No, you made a decision. Now you get to live with it independently." The studio fell through. Someone else got it." "Unfortunate." "Brooklyn says I can only stay 2 more nights. Better start apartment hunting." "With what money I spent my savings on photography equipment last month." "The equipment for your business that's building momentum. Use that momentum." She actually stamped her foot like a child. "You're destroying us over one conversation. You destroyed us when you decided I was suffocating you, but still wanted me to subsidize your independence journey. That's not how life works." "I'll tell everyone what you did." "Please do." Tell them how you wanted to live alone but expected me to keep paying for your housing. See how that goes. Security stepped forward, then asking her to leave. I watched her walk away, and for the first time in days, I felt peaceful. The emails started that weekend. Long, rambling messages about how I'd misunderstood everything, how she just needed some breathing room, how couples take breaks all the time. I sent them straight to spam. 2 weeks later, my new place was starting to feel like home. Smaller than the old apartment, but it was mine. No photography equipment scattered everywhere, no dishes left to soak for 3 days because it was supposedly part of Molly's artistic process. Just quiet, clean space where I could actually relax. Then Monday hit like a freight train. My phone exploded with missed calls, Molly, Evelyn, Brooklyn, even Tyler, Molly's brother, who I'd barely met. Finally, I listened to one voicemail from Molly. "Please call me back. It's an emergency. I need to talk to you." Against my better judgment, I called. "Thank God," she sobbed into the phone. "I'm in trouble." "What kind of trouble?" I wrote some checks for the studio deposit and first month's rent, and they bounced. The landlord wants to press charges for check fraud. "You wrote bad checks. I thought my client payment would clear in time, but it got delayed. Now I owe $3,600 plus fees, and if I don't pay by tomorrow, he's calling the police." "It sounds serious. Can you help me? Please, I'll pay you back." "With what money your business that's building momentum? Nint foam. Please don't be like this. I'm desperate." "You wanted independence. This is what it looks like." "I could go to jail." "Better call a lawyer then, independently." The silence stretched between us before she whispered, "I can't believe you're doing this to me." "I'm not doing anything to you. I'm doing nothing, which is what you wanted." "You planned this. You wanted me to fail." "No, I wanted you to succeed independently. You can't have both. I'll lose everything. You already threw away everything when you decided I was suffocating you. You can't have it both ways." I hung up. The campaign against me started immediately. Evelyn called from different numbers, leaving increasingly frantic voicemails about how I was letting her baby go to jail. Tyler texted, bro, just help her out. She learned her lesson." "What lesson? That actions have consequences." Brooklyn went nuclear on Facebook, posting about men who show their true colors when women ask for basic respect and space, and watching her best friend suffer because her ex is vindictive. She used hashtags about narcissistic abuse and financial abuse. My buddy Kevin screenshotted and replied, "Didn't she dump him for suffocating her? Now she wants his money. Make it make sense?" The comments turned into a battlefield, half supporting Molly, half calling out the hypocrisy. Tuesday afternoon, I got a text. "I pawned my camera equipment. Got enough to avoid charges. Happy now. Your independence, your choice. I hate you. You wanted space from me. Hate is just more space." Wednesday, unknown number. "Is this Clay?" "Who's this?" "Connor, I'm Molly's friend." "Friend? Right? What do you want, Connor?" "Look, man, she's going through a rough time. Can't you help her out?" "Why don't you help her out, friend?" We're not like that." Not like what together because her Instagram stories from 2 weeks ago suggest otherwise." Silence. Yeah, I know about you. The photography workshop that was actually you two at brunch, the client meetings at your apartment. She said you were broken up." "We are now. Enjoy being her life raft." "Oh, wait. You just want the fun parts, not the responsibilities." He hung up. Thursday brought a long email from Molly about how she'd been confused, how Connor meant nothing, how she'd realized she'd made a huge mistake. I deleted it without reading past the first paragraph. Friday morning, she was at my door, my new door. I still don't know how she found my address. "Please, 5 minutes." She looked rough. Hair unwashed, same clothes from earlier in the week, eyes red and swollen. 2 minutes. I messed up. I know that now. Connor was... God, he was nothing. Just attention, validation. I don't know. You nuked our relationship for attention. I was scared. We were so serious, and I'd never lived alone, and I thought I needed to experience that. But I wanted you to be there when I was done experiencing it. You wanted me as a safety net. No, I wasn't ready for everything to be so real. But ready enough to take my money. She flinched like I'd slapped her. I didn't think of it that way. You never thought at all. You just assumed I'd always be there, wallet open, while you played independent photographer. I love you. You love what I provided. Stability, security, a nice apartment, someone to handle the adult stuff while you played artist. That's not fair. Fair, you told everyone I was suffocating. Made me the bad guy. Then, when I gave you exactly what you asked for, you tried to make me the villain for that too. I'm sorry. Cool. Your 2 minutes are up. Where am I supposed to go? Connor's, your mom's, Brooklyn's. You burned through all those bridges. She started ugly crying, then the kind that makes your whole face scrunch up. Please, I'll do anything. Do this. Leave. Don't contact me again. Figure out your life without me in it. You wanted independence. Congratulations, you're independent. I closed the door and listened to her sob in the hallway for 10 minutes before she finally left. 3 months have passed since that conversation. The first month was rough. Molly went full scorched earth online, creating this narrative about how I'd financially abandoned her when she was trying to work on herself. Brooklyn led the charge with Instagram stories about emotional manipulation and control through money, but the truth has a way of surfacing. Connor apparently lost interest once Molly was actually single and broke. Someone leaked their text messages in the comments of one of Brooklyn's posts, Molly begging Connor to let her stay with him saying he wasn't ready for that kind of commitment. The same guy she'd thrown away our relationship for wouldn't even give her a couch to crash on. The comments flipped fast after that revelation. She moved back in with her parents. From what I heard through mutual friends, it wasn't pretty. Her dad was furious about the whole situation, especially the bounced checks. Made her get a full-time job at a camera store. Retail, not photography. Her Instagram went from artist building her empire to complete silence. Brooklyn and Molly had a falling out about 6 weeks later. Turns out Molly couldn't pay back the $800 Brooklyn had loaned her for food and gas. When Brooklyn asked for it back, Molly accused her of kicking her while she was down. They haven't spoken since. Evelyn sent me one last email about 8 weeks ago. Subject line, "You won." The email was short. "I hope you're satisfied. She's miserable. She cries every night. She lost everything because you couldn't forgive one mistake." I actually replied to that one. "She didn't lose everything because I couldn't forgive. She lost everything because she threw it away with both hands, expecting me to catch it for her. I chose not to catch it. That's not winning. That's just choosing not to lose." She didn't reply. Last week, I ran into Molly at Target. First time seeing her since the doorway incident. She was in her camera store uniform, buying the cheap wine she used to make fun of when we were together. We made eye contact across the aisle. She looked like she wanted to say something, but I just nodded and kept walking. But here's the weird part. Tyler reached out 2 nights ago. Not to berate me or beg for money. He wanted to thank me. This is strange, but Molly finally admitted everything. The cheating, the manipulation, expecting you to bankroll her fantasy life. She's been in therapy. Dad made it a condition of living at home. Anyway, I wanted to apologize for harassing you. You did what you had to do. I thanked him for reaching out and wished him well. Am I happy about how things turned out? Not really. I don't take joy in watching someone crash and burn, even someone who hurt me. But I'm at peace with it. She wanted to play adult while keeping a safety net. She wanted independence funded by dependence. She wanted to find herself while I paid for the search party. My new place is good. Started seeing someone new, Jessica, from my running club. She has her own apartment, her own career, and zero interest in finding herself at my expense. We take turns paying for dates. It's refreshing. Someone asked me recently if I regret being so harsh. Here's the thing. I wasn't harsh. I was exact. She asked for space. I gave her space. She wanted independence. I let her be independent. She wanted to live alone. She got to live alone. The fact that independence comes with bills and responsibilities isn't me being cruel. It's just reality. She confused wanting the aesthetic of independence with actually wanting independence. She wanted the Instagram story of brave woman finding herself while I quietly paid for her journey of self-discovery. When I refused to be a silent investor in her fantasy, the fantasy collapsed. That's not revenge. That's just cause and effect. Molly wanted to have her cake and eat it too, but she forgot she'd have to buy the cake herself once I left the bakery.